You are not stuck. You are just accepting your current life. You are not lacking opportunities. You are just accepting less than your potential. In this video, I will show you the real reason why your life keeps repeating and the one thing you need to change for everything to start moving. And if you understand this, you will never look at your life the same way again. Take a look at yourself. A job you don't like, but you stay. A habit you know is wrong, but you keep going. A version of yourself that you know you could be so much better than, but you let it continue, not because you are weak, but because you have accepted it. The truth is, life does not give you what you want, it only gives you what you accept. So stay until the end of the video, because the final principle could change your entire standard of living. And everything starts with one question. What are you accepting that you know you should no longer accept? Principle 1. The silent agreement you didn't know you made. I want you to try something very simple but also very difficult. Look straight at a problem in your life, something you clearly know is not okay, but it still exists. It could be how others treat you. It could be your financial situation. It could be your health, your work, or the person you are becoming. You know it. You feel it every day, but you still leave it there. And here is what most people never realize. The existence of that problem is not random. It is the result of an agreement, a very silent agreement. No one asked you. No contract was signed. No official moment happened. But somehow you agreed. Every time you say, whatever, it's fine. I'll deal with it later. Everyone is probably like that. You are adding another line to that contract. I call it silent acceptance. And life always respects it. You need to understand this. Life does not respond to your desires. It responds to the standard you accept. If you accept delay, life will keep sending you days of procrastination. If you accept disrespect, life will place you in similar relationships. If you accept an average version of yourself, that is the version you will continue to live with. Not because you cannot be better, but because you have allowed something lower to exist. Imagine your life as a house. Everything you accept is an item you allow inside. At first, it is just something small. One time you skip a workout. One time you delay something important. One time you stay silent when you should have spoken up. Nothing big happens. But then, those items start to pile up. The room becomes tighter. The space becomes heavier. And one day, you realize you are living in a place you never wanted. But by then, you have gotten used to it. That is how acceptance works. Quietly, without drama, just small steps pulling you away from the life you truly want. And the most dangerous part is, you start telling yourself a story to justify it. This is reality. Things can't be different. I've already tried. You don't change your life. You change your expectations. And at that moment, your standard drops. You stop demanding better. You start accepting less. And from there, your life is built on that foundation. But listen to me carefully. No contract is permanent. This agreement can be broken. But only when you see it. Only when you are honest enough to say, this is not something that happened to me, this is something I allowed to happen, not to blame yourself, but to take back control. Because the moment you realize that, you also realize something else. You have the right to change it. You have the right to say, no more accepting delay, no more accepting mediocrity, no more accepting a lower version of yourself. And remember this, every major change in life does not start with action. It starts with a boundary, a line you decide. I will never go below this level again. So let me ask you something. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what in your life do you clearly know is not okay, but you are still accepting? And if you keep accepting it for another 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, what will your life look like? Think about that. Because in the next part, I will show you an even stronger truth. You are not just accepting life, you are teaching life how to treat you. Principle 2, you are training life how to treat you. I want you to look at your life in a different way. Not as something that is happening to you, but as something that is learning from you. Because whether you realize it or not, every day you are teaching life how to treat you. You don't teach with words, you teach with actions, with reactions, with what you allow to repeat. When you let someone speak to you disrespectfully and you stay silent, you just taught them this is acceptable. When you delay something important and nothing happens, you just taught yourself, I can do this again tomorrow. When you overlook a small standard, life does not ask if you are sure. It just records it and repeats it. That is how life works. It does not evaluate you. It does not judge you. It simply reflects what you allow. Imagine you are training a system like an algorithm. Every action you take is data. Every time you accept is a signal. And over time, that system learns one thing. This is this person's standard. If the standard is low, the results will be low. If the standard is unclear, the results will be chaotic. But if the standard is high and consistent, life starts to change. I have seen this happen to many people. There are people who are always late on deadlines, not because they lack ability, but because they are used to allowing themselves to be late. No boundaries, no consequences, no standards. And gradually, it becomes their identity. The late person. No one labels them that. They create it themselves by repeating acceptance every day. On the other hand, I have also seen very different people. They are not perfect. They also get tired, also have days when they don't feel like doing anything. But they have one thing, a line, a standard they never go below. They don't need motivation to act. They act because that is who they have chosen to be. And you know what happens? Life starts to treat them differently. More opportunities come. Others respect them more. Results begin to accumulate. Not because they are luckier, but because they have taught life a different standard. So pause for a moment and look again. What are you teaching life about you? Are you teaching that you deserve respect, or are you accepting being overlooked? Are you teaching that your time is valuable, or are you wasting it every day? Are you teaching that you are disciplined, or someone who easily gives up when inspiration fades? Remember this, life does not read your thoughts. It reads your behavior. You can want many things, but if your actions do not reflect that, life will believe your actions. Not your words, not your dreams, but what you repeat every day. And here's the most important part. You cannot change your life if you are still teaching it the old way. You cannot demand respect while you still accept disrespect. You cannot wish for success while you still accept delay. You cannot want a better version while you still tolerate your current one. Change does not start from the outside. It starts with changing how you respond to what you used to accept. From today, every time you face something that is not right, don't just think about how you feel. Remember, you are teaching life a lesson. And the question is, what do you want it to learn? Do you want life to keep repeating the old patterns or start responding to a new standard? Because in the next part, I will show you something even more dangerous. Not big decisions, but the small things you accept every day are what shape your entire life. Principle 3, small tolerances become your life. There is a mistake that most people make. They think life changes through big decisions. A turning point, an opportunity, a fateful moment. But the truth is the opposite. Your life is built from very small things, the things you allow every day. I want you to imagine a line, a boundary between the version you want to become and the version you are living. Not a big distance, just a small line. And every time you accept something insignificant, you step back a little, just a little. One time you say, skipping a workout today is fine. One time you delay something important. One time you stay silent when you should have spoken up. Nothing serious happens immediately. That is the trap. Because if consequences came instantly, you would have changed long ago. But they don't come immediately. They accumulate, day after day, week after week, and you don't realize it until the gap becomes too large. I have seen people start very strong. They have goals, they have motivation, they have discipline for a period of time. But then they begin to loosen up. Not a big decision, just small acceptances. Just today, I'll do it tomorrow. It's not that important. And little by little, their standards drop. Not because they want to fail, but because they get used to allowing themselves to be lenient. Imagine you are driving a car, just a very small shift in the steering wheel. You won't notice it immediately. The road still looks the same. But if you keep going like that for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, you will no longer be where you thought you would end up. That is how life works. Not through big turns, but through small deviations repeated every day. And the most dangerous part is, you start to normalize it. You no longer feel uncomfortable. You no longer see it as a problem. You adapt to a lower standard. One day you look back and ask yourself, why am I here? But the answer is not in one moment. It is in hundreds, thousands of times you said, it's fine, listen to me carefully. You don't destroy your life in one day. You destroy it through small acceptances every day. But the good news is, you can also rebuild it the same way. No need for a big leap. No need to change everything immediately. Just one thing. Stop accepting the small things you know are wrong. One decision today. One small standard held firm. Then another day. Then one more time. And gradually, your path begins to change. Not because you do something extraordinary, But because you stop allowing the ordinary to exist, so let me ask you, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what small thing in your life are you treating as insignificant, but is actually pulling you in the wrong direction? If you keep it for another year, where will it take you? And if you remove it, how will your life begin to change? Remember this, it is not big decisions that shape your life. It is the small standards that you repeat every day. And in the next part, I will show you an even more subtle trap, something that makes you feel safe, but in reality is shrinking your life every day. That is comfort. Principle 4, comfort is quietly shrinking your life. I want to tell you about something that most people believe is good, but in reality it is quietly destroying their life. That is comfort. No one wakes up and says, "Today I want my life to become smaller," but every day they are doing exactly that. By choosing ease, by avoiding hard things, by staying in what is familiar, even though deep inside they know they could be more. Comfort does not arrive loudly. It does not knock on your door and say, "I'm here to make you mediocre." It comes very gently. It whispers, "This is enough. No need to try harder. You're fine." And because it feels good, you believe it. But there is a truth you need to face. While comfort keeps you safe, it is also keeping you small. While it protects you from failure, it is also preventing you from growing. You cannot stay in one place and become a better version of yourself. Those two things cannot exist together. Think about the last time you truly grew. Not when you felt okay, but when you actually improved. Did it happen when things were easy? Or when you were challenged, when you were not sure if you could do it, when a part of you wanted to quit, but you kept going anyway? Growth does not happen in the comfort zone. It happens at the edge of discomfort. But here's the most dangerous trap. Comfort does not feel like a problem. It feels like you have become stable. You have a steady job, a life that is not too bad, not too much pressure. And gradually, you stop asking for more from life. Not because you don't want to, but because you have gotten used to not needing to try. I have seen this happen many times. A person who was once very ambitious starts to settle for average. A person who was once disciplined starts to ignore small standards. A person who once dreamed big starts to say, "This is enough." Not because they changed their goals, but because they became comfortable, and that comfort spreads. It does not stop in one area. You become comfortable with your health, you start eating more carelessly. You become comfortable with your work, you stop learning. You become comfortable in relationships, you stop putting in effort. Little by little, your life starts to shrink. But you don't notice, because everything still feels fine. That is the trap. It is not pain. It is just comfortable enough that you don't change. And then one day you look back, no disaster happened, no major failure. But you know, this is not the life you once wanted. Not because you lack ability, but because you chose ease too many times. Remember this, the cost of comfort is always paid later, not today. Today it just feels light. But 1 year later, 3 years later, 5 years later, you will see that cost. In your health, in your finances, in the person you become. I am not saying you need to make your life miserable, not to seek pain, but to stop avoiding hard things, because everything you truly want is behind a door called uncomfortable. And every day you stand in front of two choices. One familiar door, one challenging door, one safe door, one growth door, and every time you choose comfort, you are telling life, "I don't need more." So let me ask you, what are you choosing every day? Are you choosing immediate comfort or a bigger life in the future? Because in the next part, I will show you an even more painful truth. Not what you hate, but what you think is not that bad is what holds you back the longest. Principle 5, the cost of it's not that bad. There is a phrase I hear a lot, and maybe you have said it to yourself. It's not that bad. It sounds reasonable. It sounds mature. It sounds like you are accepting reality. But I want you to understand this. That is one of the most dangerous phrases in your life, because your life is not destroyed by things that are very bad. It gets stuck because of things that are not that bad. A job that does not make you happy, but is not bad enough for you to leave. A relationship that does not help you grow, but is not bad enough for you to end. A version of yourself that does not make you proud, but is not bad enough for you to change. And so you stay, day after day, year after year, not moving forward, but not falling apart either, just staying still. That is the most subtle trap. Because if things were truly bad, you would have acted long ago. Clear pain always creates change. But okay, keeps you in place. I once saw someone work the same job for 10 years. He did not like it. He did not grow. He had no motivation anymore. But every time he thought about changing, he would say, "It's not bad enough to quit." And 10 years passed. No breakthrough, no change, just time passing by. Does that feel familiar? This is how life gets smaller, without anyone noticing. Not through major failure, but through prolonged acceptance. Remember this: you are not held back by what you hate. You are held back by what you can tolerate. And the longer you tolerate, the harder it is to leave, because you start building your life around it. You adjust your expectations. You adjust your habits. You even adjust who you are to fit it. And then one day you are no longer the person who once wanted more. You become someone who only needs enough, but enough never creates a meaningful life. It only creates a life that is not bad enough to make you change. And that is why so many people live their entire lives without ever reaching their true potential. Not because they lack ability, but because they were never forced to change. They stayed in the not that bad zone for too long. So I want you to be honest with yourself, not about what is very bad, but about what is just okay. What in your life are you tolerating just because it is not bad enough? A job? A relationship? A habit? A version of yourself? If you keep it for another 5 years, what will your life look like? And if you keep saying, "It's not bad enough to change," what are you delaying? Remember this line: not that bad is the most expensive price you can pay, because it steals your entire life without causing enough pain for you to notice. And in the next part, I will show you something even deeper. The moment you stop asking more from life is also the moment life stops giving you more. Principle 6. When you stop asking, life stops giving. There is something very subtle, but it determines almost your entire life. Not what you say, not what you want, but what you still demand, because there is a rule you need to understand. When you stop asking more from life, life will also stop giving more to you. It sounds simple, but look at yourself. There were times in your life when you wanted a lot. You wanted to grow. You wanted to change. You wanted to become a better version. You asked questions. You looked for ways. You tried. You did not know how, but you did not accept standing still. That was when life started to respond. Opportunities appeared. The right people appeared. Doors started opening, not because you were luckier, but because you sent a very clear signal. I am not satisfied. But then, what happened after that? You became more stable. Things became okay. Not too bad, but not too good either. And gradually, you stopped asking. You no longer ask, "Can I do better?" You no longer ask, "Is there another path?" You no longer ask, "Is this really the life I want?" You start accepting, not through a big decision, but through silence. And that is the moment life also becomes silent with you. No more new opportunities. No more breakthroughs. No more clear growth. Not because life has nothing left to give you, but because you stopped asking for it. Remember this: life is not something you receive. It is something you demand through your standards. A person who always asks, "Can I be better?" will never stay at average. A person who always asks, "What do I deserve?" will not accept anything less. But a person who stops asking will gradually accept whatever comes. I have met very talented people. They have ability, they have potential, but they do not go far. Not because they cannot, but because they no longer demand. They no longer expect more from themselves, no longer expect more from life. And when you do not demand, life will not go beyond what you accept. It will stop right there. You will have an okay life, but never a meaningful life. That is the difference. So I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you truly asked more from life? When was the last time you felt dissatisfied with your current version? When was the last time you decided, "I will not accept this anymore"? If you cannot remember, that is not a good sign, because it means you have become too used to accepting. And when you are used to accepting, you stop demanding. And when you stop demanding, life has no reason to change. But the good news is you can change that immediately. No need for a big plan. No need to change your entire life. Just one thing: start demanding more from yourself, from what you allow, from the life you are living, not through words, but through standards, through how you say no to what no longer fits, through how you stop accepting mediocrity for even one more day. And when you do that, life will start to respond, slowly but surely, because you have changed the signal. And life always responds to the signal you send. So the question is not, will life give me more? But, Have you truly asked for more? And in the next part, I will show you something even more important. Not your goals, but your daily standards are what truly determine your life. Principle 7, goals. Don't change your life standards, do. Most people have goals. You do too. You want success. You want to be healthy. You want a better life. And you believe that if your goals are big enough, your life will change. But I will tell you a truth that not everyone wants to hear. Goals do not change your life. Standards do. Think about this. A goal says, I want to be healthy, but a standard says, I don't skip workouts. A goal says, I want to be successful, but a standard says, I don't do things halfway even when no one is watching. A goal says, I want a good relationship, but a standard says, I don't accept disrespect. Do you see the difference? A goal is what you hope for. A standard is what you never compromise. And your life is not built from what you hope. It is built from what you repeat every day. That is why so many people have big goals but live very average lives. Not because they lack ability, but because their daily standards do not match what they want. You cannot want a big life but accept small actions. You cannot want outstanding results but allow yourself to work at an average level. That never happens. Imagine you set a goal to earn more money, but you still procrastinate, still waste time, still work only when you feel inspired and stop when you don't. Your goal may be very big, but your standards are very low, and life will always follow your standards, not your goals. That is why successful people do not rely on motivation. They do not ask, do I feel like doing this today? They have already decided, this is my standard. No matter how they feel, they keep it. Good days, they keep the standard. Bad days, they still keep the standard. Not because they are special, but because they understand one thing. If your standards change based on your emotions, your life will never be stable. Most people only set high standards when they feel motivated. You know that feeling? You watch an inspiring video. You feel powerful. You tell yourself, starting tomorrow I'll be different. But then a normal day comes. You are tired. You don't feel inspired. No one is watching. And you lower your standards. I'll rest today. I'll do it tomorrow. And just like that, your standards are no longer something you decide, but something your emotions decide. And when emotions control your standards, your results will always be inconsistent. On the other hand, people who build a life they are proud of do not wait for emotions. They have already decided who they are. They are someone who keeps their word to themselves. They are someone who does not quit halfway. They are someone who does not accept mediocrity. And they live by that every day. Not perfectly, but consistently, and that consistency compounds into results. Not once, but hundreds, thousands of times holding their standard. So let me ask you a question. Not what your goal is, but what is your standard? What will you no longer accept from yourself? What are your never again rules? Never procrastinate? Never quit halfway? Never accept being careless? If you cannot answer clearly, don't be surprised when your life is not clear. Because your life does not follow your dreams, it follows your standards. And when you raise your standards, everything else is forced to rise with it. Not immediately, but inevitably. And in the next part, I will show you a truth that very few people accept. It is not your good days, but your worst days that truly shape your life. Principle 8, your worst days define your life. Most people think that their life is determined by their good days. The days they feel motivated, the days they work effectively, the days they feel strong. But that is not the truth. Your life is not built by the days you feel good. It is built by the days you don't feel like doing anything, but you do it anyway. The days you are tired, the days you are bored, the days no one is watching. That is where your true standard is revealed. Think about this. Anyone can be disciplined when they feel motivated. Anyone can work hard on a good day. But not everyone can maintain their standard when things get difficult. That is the difference. I have seen many people start very strong. They are full of energy, full of determination. For a week, even a month, they do very well. But then a bad day comes. A day they did not get enough sleep. A day they feel lost. A day they don't want to do anything. And they quit. Not forever. Just today. But that today is where everything starts to change. Because when you break your standard once, it becomes easier the next time. Then one more time. Then another. And before you realize it, your standard no longer exists. You are no longer the person you wanted to be. Not because you lack ability, But because you could not maintain your standard on difficult days, imagine you are building a wall. Every good day you place a brick, but every bad day you skip it. You think, it's fine, I did well before. But the wall does not care how many good days you had. It only cares whether you keep building or not. One skip day is a gap. Many skip days is an incomplete wall, and eventually it collapses. That is how your life works. Not through moments of excellence, but through consistency in your worst moments. So understand this. Your true standard is not what you do when you feel motivated. It is what you do when you don't feel like it. Do you keep your word to yourself when no one is forcing you? Do you act when your emotions say don't? Do you continue when results are not immediate? That is where your true self is formed. Not in the light, but in the dark. Not when things are easy, but when they are hard. And if you can maintain your standard on those days, your life will change. Not immediately, but inevitably, because you have become a different person. Someone who does not rely on emotions. Someone who does not wait for motivation. Someone who keeps their word to themselves. And when you become that person, results are only a matter of time. So let me ask you a question. On your worst day, who are you? Are you the person you want to be? Or are you just the easiest version of yourself? Answer honestly, because that answer is your future. And in the next part, I will show you a truth that many people avoid. You cannot want more while still accepting less. Principle 9, you can't want more while accepting less. I want you to face a truth that might be uncomfortable. You cannot want a bigger life while still accepting a smaller version of yourself. Those two things can never go together. You can say you want success. You can say you want change. You can say you want more. But if every day you still accept the same old actions, your life will not change. Not because you are not good enough, but because you are sending two conflicting signals. One signal says, I want more, but another signal says, this is fine. And do you know what happens? Life always believes the second signal, not what you say, but what you accept. Imagine you say you want a healthy body, but you still accept careless eating, still accept skipping workouts, still accept laziness. You can want a lot, but your actions are accepting the opposite, and life will follow your actions, not your desires. This is where many people deceive themselves. They believe that if they want it enough, everything will change. But the truth is, desire has no power. Standards have power. You do not become who you want to be. You become who you allow yourself to be. And if you allow yourself to procrastinate, to be careless, to lack discipline, to accept average, then that is exactly who you will become. Not because you cannot be better, but because you do not demand it from yourself. I have seen many people live in this contradiction. They want more, but they are not willing to let go of what is holding them back. They want success, but do not want to leave their comfort zone. They want change, but do not want the discomfort that comes with it. And they get stuck, not moving forward, but not going back either, just in between. That is the most dangerous place, because you always feel, I could do better, but you never actually do it. Remember this, you cannot keep both. You cannot keep ease and achieve growth. You cannot keep old habits and get new results. You cannot keep low standards and expect a high life. One of them has to go. And the question is, what will you give up? Will you give up ease, or will you give up your potential? Will you give up old habits, or will you give up the life you truly want? That is the choice, not theory, not motivation, but a very real decision every day. Every time you face a small choice, do it or not, continue or quit, hold the standard or lower it, you are answering that question, not with words, but with actions. And over time, those answers become your life. So let me ask you a question. Do you truly want more, or do you just like the idea of having more? Because if you truly want it, you will not keep accepting what is holding you back. You will start saying no to what no longer fits. You will start setting a new standard, and you will hold it even when it is hard, because you understand there is no other way. Principle 10, the conversation you're avoiding is costing you. There is a conversation that you have been delaying for a long time. You know exactly what it is. You have thought about it many times. You have imagined what you would say many times, but you still have not said it. It could be with someone else. It could be with your boss. It could be with a family member, or it could be with yourself. And the reason you are avoiding it is very simple. You are afraid afraid of conflict, afraid of losing a relationship, afraid things might get worse. So you choose silence. You tell yourself, I'll do it later. It's not the right time. It's not necessary. But listen to me carefully. The peace you are holding on to is not real peace. It is just covered tension. It is like a room that smells, but you close the door and pretend nothing is wrong. The problem does not disappear. It just quietly grows. It shows up in the way you speak, in your energy, in the discomfort you cannot explain. And then one day, it explodes. At the wrong time, in the wrong place, in the wrong way. And you ask yourself, why did this happen? But the truth is, it started a long time ago. From the moment you chose silence, instead of speaking the truth, you need to understand this. Every boundary you do not set becomes a space someone else will step into. Every time you do not say, this is not okay, you are saying, this is acceptable, not with words, but with silence, and life always understands that silence. Other people do not read your mind. They only observe your behavior. If you keep accepting, they will keep doing it, not because they are bad, but because you have taught them that it is okay. But not all conversations are with others. The most important conversation is with yourself. The conversation where you look in the mirror and tell the truth that you are not satisfied. You are procrastinating. You are living below your potential. Not to blame yourself, but to wake up, because until you speak the truth, you will continue living in pretense, and you cannot change something you refuse to admit. I have seen many relationships fall apart, not because of one big event, but because of a conversation that never happened, a truth held in for too long, a feeling never expressed. And over time, the distance becomes too great to fix. Your life works the same way. What is not okay will not disappear on its own. It only gets worse when you keep avoiding it. So let me ask you, what conversation are you avoiding? A conversation that could change your job? A conversation that could save a relationship? Or a conversation that could change who you are? And if you keep avoiding it, 1 year from now, 3 years from now, what will things look like? Remember this, the truth may make you uncomfortable for a moment, but silence can keep you stuck for years. So speak, not with anger, not with blame, but with clarity, with honesty. Because the life you build after telling the truth is always better than the life you live while avoiding it. And in the next part, I will show you the final shift. Knowing what needs to change does not mean you will change. What truly makes the difference is the moment you decide, I will not accept this anymore. Principle 11. Real change begins when you draw the line. Knowing what needs to change is not difficult. Most people already know. You know which habits are pulling you down. You know what in your life no longer fits. You know what you are accepting that you should not be. The problem has never been not knowing. The problem is you have not decided. You have not truly said, enough. Not just saying it casually, but making a real decision, a decision where after that, your actions change. I want you to understand this difference. There are moments when you feel very powerful. You watch a video, you feel inspired. You tell yourself, starting tomorrow, I'll be different. But that is not a decision. That is emotion. And emotion always fades. A week later, you go back to the same, not because you are weak, but because you never truly decided. A real decision looks very different. It is not loud. It does not need witnesses. But you know that this time is different, because when the chance to go back appears, you do not go back. You hold the line.